Introducing Minor Wisdom Quintet.
1, 2, a skidda-didda-doo.
Minor Wisdom.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Minor Wisdom. Another week has passed and more coronavirus cases have gone up, but that is depressing. This week I have Libby Rotan, or Libby Nelson as a lot of people knew her before she was married. Libby is one of the just most, if you're around her, you just have to be happy. She's just always happy. And a lot of you have experienced Libby's happiness at One Act Play. She has helped backstage quite a bit. Back when, where were we? I don't even remember where we were, but she does a lot of that stuff. She helps there, and you see her at Texas Thespians. You will, on occasion, see her at TTA, I believe, but she's been at Saxe High School now for 15 years, been teaching for 20, but she is only 31 years old, so it's crazy how that works, how that math works out. But Libby and I had a nice little Zoom chat, as everybody is doing these days, and got to know each other a little better. I got to sort of teach with Libby, sort of. I taught in the same district with her for a year in Garland ISD. That was my first teaching gig back in 2007, and so that was kind of fun getting to know her, and that's how we met. And through the world of social media, we've kept in touch, and I always enjoy seeing what Libby's up to, and seeing just I've never seen her angry. She puts the sort of stereotype of redheads to sleep, because she's always happy. Now, I don't know if she ever gets angry. I'm sure she does, but not with me. She's never done that with me. So this week, a lot happened. First of all, my wife released some professional development work through Texas Thespians. I highly encourage, not just because it's her, but I highly encourage people to take advantage of that. It's a pretty sweet deal for what you get, and you only have to sit at your computer for an hour for each class, so that's kind of nice. Met with TETA, talking about things for what we're going to do for that festival, for the virtual festival that they announced, and so I'm excited about doing that. Some things are changing with Texas Thespians, and that is also exciting. So lots of fun stuff. I also did something this week that I can't say I've ever really done, and that was do sound for an actual movie. And I've done plenty of sound for interviews and things like that, on-camera work. But for a movie, for a feature-length film, I did sound for the shoot that they had down here in Texas. We were all very safe. Everybody wore masks. The actors obviously did not when they were on camera, but when they were off camera and taking those long breaks, because it's a lot of hurry up and wait, they did. So we were all safe, but it was a lot of fun. I learned a whole lot working on a film like that, and I'm excited about maybe doing that a little bit more in the future, because, well, part of me knows that there were things that I definitely messed up on, but then there's a part of me that thinks, I think I did a pretty good job with some of this work, and I think that they're going to get their money's worth as far as what they want and what they need to make the film successful. So I will release more information about that as it comes out. They will not be able to record their LA content for quite a while because, well, California is just a little smarter than Texas. So you can do whatever you want down here right now, even though we don't have bars and down to 50% occupancy. But that's okay. We'll get by. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is being smart, wearing masks. I'm not going to be as aggressive as everybody on social media, but you do need to wear a mask. It's not very difficult, especially for us teachers right now. We get away with just walking into a store. You wear your mask for however long and you leave. But the employees there, they have to wear it for 8 hours at a time. We'll have to do that, I'm sure, pretty soon once we go back to school and get in front of our kiddos, or even if we're back at school, just videoing and around our peers. So start getting used to it. Hope everybody has a good rest of your week. I hope you also enjoy this interview again from the former Libby Nelson, now Libby Nelson Rotan. Enjoy.
All right.
Should I say my name?
I mean, it'll be the title of the podcast, but you
Or
can
a
if you want. If
title?
you want,
Okay.
if you have
Okay.
like a nickname, the Liberator or something. No,
Um,
no,
no, not so.
no.
Liberace has been
Okay,
pretty consistent, throughout my life. But
okay.
so I was born in Illinois, and then we moved here when I was young. Here is the Dallas area, and I went to high school in Richardson, Texas. I went to Berkner High School, and then I went to Millikan University. It's in Decatur, Illinois, and I got my BA in theater there. And my last semester in college, I had an internship with the Parks Department and learned to do a lot of things that are actually things I do now, like costuming and directing and putting together a show, producing things. And then got out of college and had no idea what I was going to do with my theater degree. Knew I wanted to teach, and kind of my mom was in the school system, and so roundabout got a job in Garland ISD, and I taught middle school at Coyle Middle School for 5 years. And then I went to Saxe High School, which is where I teach now. And I've been there for this will be my 15th year coming up, which is insane. So my 20th year of teaching, which
Wow.
again, crazy. So, yep,
20
that's
years.
me.
I guess I didn't. I mean, I should know better because I met you in 2007. So,
Yeah.
and you were already an established vet by that
Yes.
point. Yes. New to the high school world still, kind of.
I was.
Yeah.
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 It
Yeah. Yeah.
was that your first year at
That was
Rowlett?
well, it was my only year, but yeah,
You only had,
yeah, I only taught 1 year with Brandon at Rowlett.
seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
I had no, that I thought you were. It felt like ages.
Well, thanks.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I was only there for a year.
Oh wow.
But it was a good year. It was my first year teaching. That was it. But the thing is I did the 7 years in college thing. So
Oh, got it.
we are the same age. It's just or similar age. You're 27 and I'm 38, right? So yeah, that's the thing is, and then also we put on such spectacular shows. You would have thought we were been together for so long.
Absolutely. What'd you guys do that year?
We
How
did
did
Brementown Musicians. We
Oh yeah.
did oh my gosh, what was our
Was it
we did oh my gosh, I'm gonna get killed.
super memorable?
We did Paganini for our UIL. I remember that.
I do remember seeing it. You had a lot of trunks.
Because Ryan
So many
Clark was
trunks.
our Paganini.
Oh,
Yeah,
Ryan
and
Clark.
I'm still tight with Ryan. Oh man, so memorable. The thing that I remember the most is that the next year they did that dang book show where they had just books all over the
Yes.
stage, and I was so grateful that I had left
You're like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
because that did not look like any fun at all.
It's a lot of books.
Yeah, but thank you.
A lot of books.
The thing about the Garland district is at least probably, and I know for sure at Saxe, but also at Rowlett, when I was there, the support is like freaking amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So at your time at well, first of all, the only question that I could think of initially when I started thinking about what can I ask Libby is, at any point during a pep rally or something, do they play Justin Timberlake's "Bringing Sexy Back" but dub over Saxe?
No, but we do. Our cheerleaders do say, "Thunder, I think you're sexy."
Okay.
Thunder,
Okay.
which was very shocking the first time I got there because I didn't realize they were saying sexy. And I was like, oh, this is so different than middle school.
What is the mascot?
He's a Mustang.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah,
Okay,
Thunder.
that's not really good with alliteration, but yeah. The Saxe
no.
Mustangs. Okay.
We give you the sexy centaurs, but
Yeah.
it's not the same letter, but it is the same sound.
So I've asked. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. What is? I've asked this to a few people, and because you are now at the same school for 15 years,
It's insane.
what is something you still feel like you can improve upon that you felt like you could improve upon back 15 years ago? There's still that one thing that you're like, man, I wish I could just figure this thing out.
You want me to be real honest?
No, I'd actually prefer you to lie.
Okay.
Please.
Well, then UIL one act play.
Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah.
I although I grew up in Texas, we didn't do one act play in high school. Our director didn't believe in it. And so we never did it. And I walked in. The first UIL one act play I ever saw was the one I was directing my first year at Saxe. And it took me at least, I think, 5 years to recognize that it was a different beast, and then another 5 to kind of figure out how to do it moderately well. And then actually the last 2 years, so we have 3 teachers at Saxe. In the last 2 years, Tim Doyle has been one of our teachers. Was Tim in the district when you were there?
The name sounds really familiar, so maybe.
He was at North McKinney after he was at Lakeview for 2 years, and then North McKinney, and then Lovejoy, and then Saxe. And then next year he's opening up Prosper's new high school, which is really cool for him.
Oh, good for him.
I'm sad
yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Tim is a fantastic UIL director. And I have gotten to spend the last 2 years watching him do a bunch of stuff. And I finally feel like I sort of see what the monster is and how I can get better at it and how I can do me within that. Because for so many years I was like, I'm a person who's like, I want to do me. If it's not me, I don't know how to function in it. And so it took me, I think, this long to realize how to be me within that system and get us to be successful doing that.
Yeah.
So,
well,
and then
go ahead. Go ahead with your
and
headset.
of course we had this, maybe the best show, maybe the best UIL show we've ever, no, definitely hands down. The best UIL show we've ever had was this year. And we got to compete at zone, and we were first at zone. So I can only assume we would have been first at state as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's kind of like when a baseball player hits, a home run in the first game. It's like, well, they're on track to hit 162 home runs.
Exactly.
Nobody can tell me different. Yeah.
Exactly. No, for sure. For sure. So this would have been our year.
Did you guys do anything to close off like the disappointment of one act play?
We didn't really. So I not to bring this down, my dad passed away April 6th. So like 3 weeks into quarantining and everything. And so it was weird for us. There was so much of my focus wasn't at school. And so I hate that we didn't get to really do anything to close it down. We've kind of talked about it, but then we've talked about doing maybe a performance this summer.
Yeah.
But again, how do we do that without
not anymore
getting people? Yeah. Exactly. So no, we didn't. I mean, we kind of talked about it and said goodbye to it in a little powwow, but no. Did you guys do anything?
No, we didn't do anything for our one act play, mostly because we had already done our district competition and we didn't advance. Oh. So, well, I'm not. Yeah, you and I have a very similar background and feeling, right? Single tier, because where I went to high school, we didn't do one act play either. Not for the same reasons, mostly just because it was a performing arts school, and we're like, too good for that stuff,
sorry.
right? But I didn't grow up with it, so my first experience really with one act play was in Garland, was with Brandon. That was my first competition.
Wow.
So we have similar paths, but no, we didn't do anything to close off. We did do like a thespian banquet-ish type thing.
We had
just
a banquet,
just to say goodbye to the seniors. But we also, I didn't like a lot of the seniors, and so
you're gonna have those years.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
So and they knew that. I had a handful that I adore, but I wasn't super duper close with a lot of them. So for me, plus I was leaving.
You were leaving,
yeah. And by that time, it was already announced that I was not just leaving, but I was going to another school. Which before that, all this started, they thought I was just leaving. Now I'm a traitor, according to those kids. So even though that was never my plan, but anyway, that's enough about me.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. Yeah, things like pandemics. They happen. Read the Bible.
Read the Bible.
It's true.
That's true. You're not wrong.
Yeah, we could have seen this coming. So if you go back, or if we go back next semester in a more face-to-face format, are you going to bring anything from what happened over the past whatever, however long you guys were doing online learning, are you going to take anything from all that and then be like, hey, this really worked, so let's keep doing it? That kind of idea.
Um, to be honest, not for like nothing I did because I was a
Yeah,
terrible distance learning teacher. I think I would have been a lot better had I not been in the midst of some personal stuff.
sure,
But
yeah.
I
Did you admit
it
it? I
was
mean, I assume people forgave you.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh.
Like supported
Everybody,
you.
Tim
Yeah.
and Joe, who I teach with,
Took the
they
reins.
were amazing.
Yeah.
They picked everything up that I was consistently dropping.
Sure.
And my administrators, if I had an email that I hadn't seen, my AP would just text me and be like, hey, this is an email I got. How do you want me to handle it? And they were amazing.
Yeah, sure.
I think I'm going to have people turn in things a lot more online just to cut down on things we're touching. I mean, because since my mom's 70 and I'm her basically my husband and I are her only human contact at this point. So I'm going to try and maintain as much of that as possible if and when we're back.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Garland ISD has said that kids will either be fully online or fully in person, but has not really said
Committed
how
to one
that's
of
all
the, yeah.
happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So,
So does
who
your mom
knows?
have fur babies? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, she has a dog.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because you said you're the only human contact that she has.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm assuming she had like a goldfish or something.
No, she has a real needy dog. He's
Oh.
sweet. He's like 8 months old or something. So
Oh, he's a
annoying.
puppy?
Yeah, he's huge though. He's like
Oh, those are,
heart.
oh man.
He's lab, chow, Pyrenees, tiny bit of pit bull. He's adorable.
You
but
sound like those people right now that have to exploit how many European nationalities they are.
Well, he's French and Danish, but he's also going to touch a Swedish, and he's Norwegian, but also he's British, and I don't
We
know.
did
you're
that
English or
23
British.
and me, and you would never. So Josh Hearson.
Also, he's like 12% Ashkenazi Jew. So
Do you know Josh Hearson?
no.
He's at the Saxy of the Houston area. Like
Okay,
it's
got it.
because you guys are orange, right?
Orange. Well, we're navy with a touch of orange.
Okay,
a hint of
okay, so
orange.
they're orange with the navy. They're
Okay,
all
got it.
orange with a hint of navy. So I always, whenever I see that school, I liken it to Saxy because not a lot of schools do orange. But anyway, they just got a dog. That's why I was going there with that story. And I texted him this morning because I saw pictures and the paws were. That's how you can tell if a dog's going to grow to be a large dog. And he said the dog is already, it's a puppy, already 77 pounds.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was like, oh man.
What kind of dog is it?
I don't know. Cute. I couldn't tell.
Cute.
Yeah. Ashkenazi Jew. I don't know.
Ashkenazi Jew. Very common in the dog world.
Yeah.
Very common.
Yeah. Ashkenazi Jews are known for their large paws.
Yes. I think
It's
so,
just,
yeah.
I mean, that's what I
From
heard.
what I know.
I read it on Twitter.
Must be true.
So do you still keep yourself professionally engaged at all as far as like what you do outside of an educational world?
I see a lot of shows.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of shows. I think I get my kind of I'm one of those real balance type people. I really like to run because that's what keeps me sane. And so I figure, like what am I spending my time doing? I'm usually like running or hanging out with my husband and my dog. So I don't do a lot professionally. But I see a lot of shows and try and keep myself engaged that way.
Where do you go?
We had tickets to Dallas Summer Musicals, but also every other year we take kids to New York. So we try and see shows
You
in
go
New York.
every other year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We have for the past couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah, my husband is great at he's actually our travel agent.
Okay.
And he found a couple of places that'll book your hotel and your flight, and then he does the rest of it. So we don't have to pay for a lot. Like
Right.
we can get it down to pretty cheap. So
Do you
it's been
stay in Manhattan or do you stay in Jersey?
we stay in Manhattan.
Wow.
We have stayed in Hell's Kitchen the past couple years. It's great.
Cool. Do you ever go like
Yeah.
are you a Marvel fan at all?
I have become one.
Okay.
And so like when we would watch Daredevil or whatever,
That's where I was
and I'd
going.
be like, oh my gosh, I know where that is. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Who was better, the Ben Affleck Daredevil or I don't remember the Netflix guy, but the Netflix guy. Did you watch either of them?
I
Okay.
watched the Netflix series. I don't think I've
Seen the movie?
the actual movie.
It's not worth it.
No.
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna say the
the
Netflix
correct
guy.
answer is the Netflix guy.
Okay, all right. Funny thing. Okay, so but I don't know if the people listening know. So I teach with a guy named Joe Murdoch,
Yeah.
and my name before I got married was Nelson, and so they're Nelson and Murdoch.
Yeah.
And we are too. That was pretty exciting. Then I ruined it because I got married. That's okay.
Did you keep Nelson at
It's
all?
worth it.
Did you keep it hyphenated or no?
No, it's still in my name, but
Okay.
I don't use it as my last name.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about hyphenating for a second, and I was like, that's a lot of work. I wasn't really down.
Well, the only reason to keep it is because of the Nelson and Murdoch thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I was like, Joe, can we get rid of this? And he lobbied for it, but I was like, no.
I've had a couple of major minor interactions and things like that.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
I get that.
It's fun.
It's not nearly as unique as Nelson and Murdoch, but it is what it is. So
Yeah.
what's your well, you can count your middle school if you want to count the middle school. What's the best, most favoritist show you've ever done? Maybe not. Well, best and favorite are two different things. So
Yeah.
give me your favorite.
My favorite show, I think my favorite show, the first thing that springs to mind is my very first year at Saxe, we did I Hate Hamlet. And I, in a very not copyright okay way, tweaked a couple of storylines that obviously wouldn't work for our audience, but not my proudest moment. But I, have learned things since then.
Yeah.
We've evolved. But
It's been 15 years. It's statute of limitations. You're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I had the most wonderful group of seniors that year. Many of whom I'm still friends with, lots of whom are working in the industry or teachers, and they're just the most fantastic people. And they were crazy talented. And I love that show. And I walked in and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I had my two guys who played the leads, Barrymore and Andrew. They were two of the best actors I've ever taught in my entire career. And they made that show so fun. They were fully bought in. And since it's such a small cast, we understudied the whole thing. And the two guys who played Andrew and Barrymore, I had a real struggle about which one I was going to put in which position. So the only time we've ever done this, we did it 2 weekends at Saxe, and we usually just do a show for 1 weekend and then we're done. But this year we did it 2 weekends, and I had them actually switch parts, one performance, and I think they understudied the others in that performance. I think I can't remember the details on that, but all my understudies got to perform at that performance, and afterwards we talked years afterwards, and they were like, "That was the most insane thing that you made us learn both of those parts." And I was like, "But you did it, and you were great." And it was just so fantastic. It was a great show. I loved it.
Do you have, speaking of proud moments, do you have a kid, a student, and mine could be, I know I've already mentioned him, but Ryan Clark. But
Ryan.
Do you have a student that you didn't expect to do things and then just exploded and ended up being like extremely, not necessarily financially successful, but just in life successful?
Well, that's funny. Ryan is not mine, and not. No, that's not.
Everybody
what I'm
knows
saying.
Ryan.
So I have a funny Ryan story before I get to
Sure.
who I'm. So Ryan, I taught Ryan in middle school,
Right.
as you know, and he almost failed a class or something like this. I think his mom would be fine at me mentioning this.
Oh, she doesn't. She doesn't.
Because in my show notes, my thank you notes, I thanked the teacher who had like literally bent over backwards. And I was like, Mrs. Werner, thank you for bending over backwards for our kids. And Julie, his mom, came up to me afterwards and she was like, was that the reason that Mrs. Werner had to bend over backwards? I was like, yeah. So
That's funny.
he's such a good kid now. I mean,
Well,
he was then.
Yeah, now he has 2 kids. So,
Children. That's
yeah.
insane.
Yeah, so he's a grown man.
He's a grown man. But the kid that I'm that I'm so proud of. Okay, so one of my seniors, my first year at Saxe, his name is Matt Cox, and the first time he auditioned for anything was the first show we did, which is You Can't Take It With You, and I cast him as Kalenkoff, and he was hilarious, and he was in Yearbook and he did theater, and then he went on to Tarleton, and then he moved to New York afterwards, and I don't know if you've heard of the show Puffs. It ran off Broadway for 3 years. Oh,
Uh-oh.
sorry. Okay.
Blowing up, girl.
Is
Is it telling you to breathe?
It's my gym. It's like, hey, are you going to come back and renew your membership? And I'm like, maybe when people aren't spitting on me and giving me COVID-19, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Matt, he wrote a show called Puffs, which ran off Broadway for 3 years. And it's a certain wizard tale told from the Hufflepuff house perspective. And it really it got big. I mean, they've done.
I feel like I have heard of it.
You probably have.
Did he have to deal with like copyright issues?
They were very smart about it. They really worked around things, and that's one of the most
when I
amazing
search Puffs,
things.
By the way, I find baby food, which continue.
Oh, hey, we produced Puffs at Thespian Festival this year. We brought it to festival. That's maybe why you've heard of it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And they danced around copyrights so beautifully, which is one of the great things about the show. You have like Snape's name is a certain potions professor.
It's a long title, actually.
Yeah, Puffs.
Seven increasingly eventful years at a certain school of magic and magic.
Yes. And everything is like that about the show. And
That's
Matt
funny.
Matt is one of the best people I know. He's kind and he's generous and he is a Puff through and through. And he was one day wondering, he was a big fan of the series growing up. And one day he said, I wonder, man, those Hufflepuff kids had to be so scared, but they don't really talk about them. And so he started writing a story that he and his friends were going to produce at the Pit, the People's Improv Theater in New York, and just started out
they did,
well, what did I want to learn about this? And then it became this huge thing, and they extended, and then they got a new space. There were new world stages for I think about a year and a half, and they closed last November, I think. But the 2 years that we took kids to New York, our kids were able to see one of their own Saxe High School alums production.
That's
and
really funny.
It was amazing, and I'm super proud of him.
So you're not supposed to trust Wikipedia, but I'm going to right now.
Okay, do it.
But yeah, you got it right. They good job. But they closed. Their final performance was in Toronto.
Was it?
Yeah. They did Toronto at the Lower Ossington Theater. But anyway, that's really cool.
They had an Australian production.
They had
too,
Australia. They had off and off Broadway. That's really funny.
It was really cool.
Has that turned into anything for him? Like as far as did he want to be a writer? Is that even what he wanted to do? Do you know?
I mean, he was in Yearbook or in journalism, and so he had background in high school writing,
Sure.
and then majored in theater in college. And I think when he went to New York, he was like, "I'll do some improv, I'll do some acting, I'll do some writing." And he wrote a it's called Kapowie Go-Go. It's an epic Pokemon anime. I don't know. Those are all
My daughters are into Pokemon. Yeah,
foreign to me. It's not Pokemon. It's a specific anime, something or other that every time he says, I'm like, sure, yeah, that's a thing. But anyway, he wrote that show, and then he wrote a sequel. He wrote basically a 19 years later, a Cursed Child type and you can totally unintelligible or make it sound good or whatever. I trust you. Or keep it. I'm quirky. I'm unexpected. It's fine.
What school are you? What Harry Potter school?
I'm a Ravenclaw with Hufflepuff secondary Hufflepuffs.
How do
Yeah.
you find out if you're secondary?
Well, I'm a really loyal person and I'm really friendly and I'm all hi.
Yeah.
And so I haven't taken a test. I just
Oh,
think that's where I am.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
lame.
So
You should take the
what are
test.
you?
I'm nothing special. I'm a Gryffindor. Like, yeah,
Oh, like
yeah,
everybody.
exactly. I took the quiz. My oldest daughter's a Gryffindor as well, and then Jennifer's. Oh man, I don't remember what she is. She's not Ravenclaw. She might actually be Hufflepuff, but yeah, just because
Pretty good.
she's also very happy. So annoying, right? Oh god.
You know, I think it's fantastic.
Those happy people. That's funny. What about a student? And you don't have to say their name. Did you have any students that you thought were going to be just the next big thing, and then, well, you can say who it is, and then they went on to do something else. Like you're like, oh my gosh, you're going to be a massive star. For instance, let's
Yeah.
go back to Ryan Clark. The kid was
Seriously.
the kid was on American Idol.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's had a disappointing life at all. He's
No.
done what he's wanted to do, and he's been very successful at it. But back 15 years ago, or whatever it was, no, wasn't even that long. It was 10 years ago, when the kid's on national television, you're like, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to make it. And then he becomes a bartender.
Yeah.
We keep harping
know.
about, we both have Ryan Clark tattoos, which is partially why we keep talking about him. But
Yeah, that's true. I do.
Yeah.
I tried to get it lasered off,
Yeah,
but it stuck
it's
around.
weird.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. The tattoo artist was like, "Is this like an indelible ink or?" I'm like, I don't know. Who knows? Let me see. Student.
And maybe you don't. I mean, maybe everybody's done what they were supposed to do, and in your eyes. In your eyes.
I had a student who left Saxy, and I said to this girl, I was like, go to college, go to college, go to college, because I thought that's where she would develop more. And she was like, that's not who I am. And she went out to LA, and her dads live in LA. And so, or no, her dads live in Palm Springs. So she kind of had a California connection. And she was on an episode of Blackish, and she was like party goer, but she got to speak to somebody. And she actually started booking jobs and everything. And then she has recently moved to North Dakota and started to get her degree in personal fitness or something like that. Or social work. I can't remember exactly, but
Same thing.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it was unexpected, but she's doing great doing that. But yeah, I definitely thought that I would see her on a Broadway stage, and now she just her fiance is in the military, and I think they got
Yeah.
moved to North Dakota, and she was like,
Yeah.
"It's cold there, we're going." So but she seems really happy. So
Well, I mean, when you think of successful television shows and movies, they're all shot in North Dakota. I mean,
All of them.
that's the mecca of
every single one, yeah.
Hollywood.
It's
North
really
Dakota.
it's like the New Mexico,
Yeah, that's good.
I
feel like you've been thinking about that one.
I have not,
Wait.
but
There we go. I told you I'd use it.
you laughed. You laughed.
Yeah, that's true. That's great. So what is, now that you're 15 years into high school, yeah.
It's crazy. I know I've said that's crazy every time, but it is insane.
Do you have any, like, what do you do to keep yourself from getting sort of stale? You know what I mean? Because I'm one of those people that has to, every year I've got to do something different just to not be stale and bored.
Yeah. My husband is that way, and I am not necessarily that way, but I have encountered times in my career where I've recognized, oh, I'm stale. I need to do something new. It's helped over the past few years. We have a new third teacher coming in this year. Tim came in 2 years ago, and then 3 years before that, our former teacher Byron came in. So that has really helped shake things up. I think that Joe and I, my teaching partner and I, took a while to kind of figure out, we don't see the same things creatively. We're very, very different in our approaches to things. And so I think that helped it not get stale, was because we were still for first 5 or 6 years figuring each other out and trying to figure out how we best worked together. So I think the interpersonal relationships of our of the teaching staff helps me with that. Um, but also I feel like there are some things, happening, COVID, Black Lives Matter, all those things that are for me really challenging me. And I am at this point, I keep saying, okay, how am I putting all that I'm learning? How am I putting what I want my classroom to look like? How am I doing that in my teaching? Um, and that for me is what's going to keep it real fresh this year.
Yeah. So do you bring, let's say, um, let's say we go back in August or whatever, even if it's online or whatever, that
Mhm.
might look like we're going to be with students, right?
Yeah.
So there's bound to be something else that happens this summer. This year has been just a
Yeah.
freak of nature. And
Mhm.
so are you going to bring that stuff back up? Because this world is so, what do you have from, what's next? And,
Yeah.
and something comes in and something else leaves. Do you go back and explore, like, hey kids, let's kind of talk about all the stuff that's been happening around us, and not just Black Lives Matter, but even COVID,
Yeah.
because you might have a kid that, I had a student, he graduated this past year, but both of his grandparents died from the
Oh,
coronavirus, and it's
that's
heartbreaking.
awful.
And so I don't know if I want to necessarily go back and explore that information, because I might have a student that is
Yeah.
affected in a way that I don't know, because they don't have to disclose that information. But
Yeah.
do you try to have conversation, even though it's going to potentially be on Zoom or whatever it might be, that with those students, and explore how they're feeling and do that stuff as a theater teacher?
I think so. I think at least to some extent. I think it's got to be something I talk about, only because I have been affected. I mean, we've all been affected by it, but I know that I can't do what I need to do without my students understanding where I'm coming from at this point in my life. That was a big part of the end of the year. Was I was really upfront with my kids, and I was like, "Hey, I haven't been online to give you any assignments in a week because my dad passed away," and those things, and like those experiences of having someone in the hospital and not being able to see them, and we were eventually able to see my father. But I think that, like, even your kid who had the two grandparents who died, like, isn't that something that as an actor or a technician they can bring to the table? And I'm one of those people who likes to have the touchy-feely discussions, only in discussion, no touchy or
Yeah, yeah.
feely.
No,
No.
no, I know.
No, sorry.
Yeah,
And no, thank
I'm
you.
the same. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I like my job, and as I like to say, I'm too cute for prison. Um, but I like to have those emotional moments, and work that in. So I think yes, but I also think that I think our kids might be a little tired of talking about COVID. Are they going to? I mean, I don't think you can. I don't think we can say you're allowed to be tired of talking about Black Lives Matter. I mean, I can't. I'm
No.
not allowed to be
Yeah,
tired of it.
no.
No,
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, I am just okay. My husband just got home. Sorry.
that's all right.
I was like, "What? Wait, this isn't. You're not. We're not filming this, so it doesn't matter." But don't say any bad words, okay?
Yeah, no bad words.
Oh, that's my dog. Um,
What kind of dog do you have?
he's a pit bull. He's an American
Oh,
Staffordshire Terrier, and
we
his
have
name
that.
is. Do you?
Yeah, we have Teddy.
Oh,
Yeah,
yay!
yep,
Mater. That's Mater, as in tow mater.
yeah.
He came with the name.
Oh, here you go. This is a good conversation to have.
What?
Because is that a Cars reference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
he came with the name, but yes, it is a
Okay.
Cars reference.
So what are your thoughts on the movie Cars?
It's a fun frolic.
Okay.
It's a romp.
So did you here? I'm going to show you on the screen. Did you see this post that I did a while back? Can you sort of see
I
it? It's like Disney
think I
versus
did.
Pixar. So it's a
Yes.
bracket, and a friend of mine sent it to me. a really close friend who shall remain nameless, but Eric Lane, he sent it to me. Yeah. And if you want to see more about him, watch Dear White People. Speaking of what we were discussing earlier, but he's he's a big deal on Dear White People. But he and I have gotten into some pretty, like, we've almost ruined our friendship over this bracket. The one thing we can agree upon, though, is that cars should not have been included on this bracket. So,
because it's so far down the
well,
line.
it's exactly like you just said. It's entertaining, like I'm not saying that the movie shouldn't, like, kids love it, but does it translate well for adults as well? Can you watch it as an adult and be like, this is really great? Well, no, it's just fun. It's just fun to watch.
My dad is not an animated movie kind of person. He was fully against it, but I think I got him to watch Cars because it was like NASCAR and he really liked NASCAR.
I like NASCAR. Yeah.
But I do see what you mean. It's fun. It's not, is it going to change anybody's life? Probably not.
No. Larry the Cable Guy has not changed anybody's life.
We do quote him pretty frequently.
Well,
though,
sure. I mean, I guess
dog.
In that way, but I don't think
Mater,
he's.
what I tell you about talking to the prisoners to not to. That is our dog to a T. To not to.
He's kind of like an Eeyore-ish kind of. He's got a little bit of.
He's got so much anxiety. He's literally medicated for this.
Yes, so is Teddy. I think it's the breed. I think so. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
There's a lot of, if you want me to talk about the breed, so his rescue is the Love Pit, which is amazing. If you're in the Dallas area and you need a pit bull, they're the best. But they do a lot of education and everything, and it's the pit bull breed it's so often misused and so often like the way they've been bred at this point is kind of prone to, I think, some of that anxiety. But we also have a great trainer who's working on him. So,
yeah, Teddy is so expensive.
Yes.
Because like literally right now, as we were talking, I got a call from the pharmacy saying that his prescription is ready. And what I hate the most is when you drive up, because I mean, we even before COVID, we're those people, right? And drive up.
Oh yeah.
And
for sure.
Yeah.
Don't
and they're
go
like
in.
date of birth, and I'm like, it's a dog.
Yes. Yes. Date of birth. I don't know. He's a rescue. I don't know.
I wasn't there at the time of conception. You can ask me about my kids because I was there, but I don't. I guess time of conception was not the right thing, but the birth, I wasn't there. I wasn't there for, don't worry about it. But
I wasn't thinking too hard about it.
Yeah, thanks. No, but I know I'll get a text from Stuart or something, Stuart Savage.
Yeah.
So, what else you got for me? It's been 40 minutes. We've talked about your dog. Mm-hmm. We've talked about the dog's anxiety.
Yes, he's also deaf, but that plays into his anxieties, we think.
Man, really?
Yeah.
So what do you do to like, so I guess that's good for thunderstorms unless he feels
he can feel vibrations, but he's not bothered by thunderstorms. We had a Pyrenees pit bull mix who passed away last year, and she hated thunderstorms, but Mater is completely unfazed.
We got the thunder shirt.
We have a thunder shirt for his anxiety. It doesn't help.
I think I don't, maybe it exists. I wish there was a human thunder shirt.
I think they do exist. I think
so?
I saw an ad for that on Facebook, which is always real.
Now I'm going to see it because I've said it out loud. And
you can turn that off. You can turn off your Facebook so it doesn't listen to you like that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not one of those. That's not one of those fake like copy and paste. If you want Facebook, okay.
It's a setting. Stephen actually showed it to me. He did it on my phone. So and it doesn't. I don't get my ads are not as intuitive anymore.
Now I can put in the description of this podcast, if you want to find out more, stay tuned. 40 minutes in, we're going to learn about how to get over Facebook's Russian hacking. Yeah.
Go to settings. I don't know where you go from there.
There you go. Well, that's a good start.
Go to settings and then call my husband.
Awesome.
Put his number in the show notes.
Okay, I will.
Minor